Welcome to Dramas, Dreams, and Drollery. I am Mark, the author of all works presented on this channel. Since the 1st of October 2019, I have offered you a variety of literary pieces, to all of which I retain the copyright. Today I have for you two one-act plays. These are serious dramas into which you will find neither dreams nor drollery. The first involves foreign people in a foreign setting, but you should find it easy to identify with the unfortunate protagonist. Here is Lethal Discovery. The setting is an unnamed Asian country. Scene 1. A dimly lit office with a chair and desk on the right side of the stage and a single chair at left center stage. Man named Luis Beltran is seated in this chair. Mr. Liu stands near him. Two uniformed guards stand beside a door at the rear. A stenographer at the desk takes notes of the proceedings. Liu, tell me once more about yourself, about the time before you came on this trip. Beltran, again? But I've already told you 3 times. Liu puts up a hand to cut off speech. It may be necessary to ask you 10 times. Give me a brief biography of yourself. Beltran sighs and then speaks in a monotone. My name is Luis Beltran. I was born in Asunción, Paraguay in 1978. I have lived in that city all my life. I am not married. 10 years ago, my brother Rafael and I started an import-export business which we named Exotica. He runs a shop that we have in Asunción, and I travel all over Asia, acquiring goods to sell in the shop. I've been coming to your country for only 2 years now. Liu says, and precisely why did you choose to come to our country? Beltran, because people here make lovely handicrafts that are inexpensive. We can sell them for a good profit in Asunción. Liu says, on this trip, when did you arrive in this country? Beltran, 5 days ago. Liu, and how did you spend the first 2 days? Beltran, I took a boat up the river to the village of Taochi. Liu, and why did you go there? Beltran, in the past I've done business with a merchant named Fu Wen. Liu, and did you do business with Mr. Fu on this occasion? Beltran, no, he raised his prices too much. Liu, then did you return to this city? Beltran, not at once. I tried to find other merchants in Taochi with whom I might deal. Liu, were you successful? Beltran, no, I was terribly disappointed. All of them wanted to sell at high prices. It must have been a conspiracy. Liu, so you gave up and returned to this city? Beltran, yes. Liu, how did you spend your 3rd day? Beltran, I made contact with a few traders I know here. Liu, did you do business with them? Beltran, no, just like the Taochi people. The merchants I met with here didn't want to negotiate reasonably. Liu, am I correct in believing that after 3 full days in our country, you had not concluded a single business deal? Beltran, that's correct. Liu, now this seems very strange to me. Do you not agree that flying all the way here from South America and traveling about our nation is very costly? Beltran, yes. Liu, and yet you allowed 3 days to pass without earning any money. Wouldn't anyone say that this is bad business practice? Beltran, I suppose, but Liu, isn't it possible that you came to our country for a motive other than business? Beltran, I don't understand. What do you mean? Liu, well, let's not bother with that for now. Instead, why don't you tell me again about the incident 2 nights ago, the one you have referred to as your unfortunate discovery? Beltran, it was a Saturday night, about 11 o'clock. I had been to a few bars for drinks earlier that evening, so I had to go to the bathroom. Remembering an alleyway behind the White Lotus bar, I planned to go there. It was very dark in the alleyway. Suddenly, I saw a shiny object on the ground. I picked it up. It was a gun. Not knowing what to do with it, I started to put it back down on the ground. And then I thought, what if children found it and fired it by accident? Someone could get killed. So I decided to take it to the police. Liu, are you sure this really wasn't your own gun? Beltran, no. I found it in the alleyway, like I told you. Liu, before going to the police station, did you go into the White Lotus bar? Beltran, no, I went straight to the police station. I knew where it was because I had seen it in daylight. Liu, aside from the police, did you talk to anyone about the gun? Beltran, no. Liu, what happened in the police station? Beltran, one policeman and I communicated in English. I explained to him how, where, and when I had found the gun. He had me fill out some forms and sign them. Frankly, I didn't even know what I was signing. I speak only Spanish and English. The papers were in Chinese. Liu, why did you sign them? Beltran, they intimidated me. They made it clear that I had to sign. Liu, according to the report of the sergeant on duty at the station that evening, you seemed very nervous, as though you were guilty of a crime. Beltran, nervous? Sure, I was nervous. I was bringing a gun to the police in a foreign land. But guilty? Guilty of what? Liu, we'll get to that later. Tell me what happened next. Beltran, nothing much. They told me to sit and wait. So I waited on a hard bench for 2 hours. It was cold, too. Finally, about 2 a.m., they locked me in a cell. I thought they'd release me in the morning, but here I am still in jail. Liu, let's turn to a different subject. Have you ever been to America? Beltran, his face registers surprise at the question. Yes, but what does that have to do with this matter? Liu, where in America did you visit? Beltran, New York, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C. Liu, Washington? That's interesting. Tell me, was that where you were recruited by the CIA? Beltran, the CIA? I have nothing to do with the CIA. Liu, come now, Mr. Beltran. Tell me the truth. You're an intelligent man. They say the CIA recruits only the best. Beltran, but I'm not CIA. I swear it. Liu, then who sent you to find Shen Yu Chuan? Beltran, who? Nobody sent me to find anyone. As I told you, I'm here on business. Liu, yes, I know. A businessman who comes here looking for trinkets to buy finds nothing in this land famous for trinkets, but does manage to discover a gun, the very weapon used to kill Shen Yuchuan, one of our most prominent citizens. Beltran, you mean a man was killed with that gun? Liu, now, Mr. Beltran, you can do better than that. Yes, a man was killed with that gun, but not just any man. Mr. Shen was our Minister of Defense and the leading candidate to become president of our nation. He was a champion of our way of life and an enemy of the CIA. Fortunately for us, the officer on duty at the police station that evening were not deceived by your play acting. While they made you wait on that bench, the sergeant sent 2 of his men to the alleyway where you say you found the gun. There, in the darkness, they found the body of Mr. Shen. At this moment, experts are conducting ballistic tests on the fatal bullet. I feel confident that the test will prove that your gun killed him. Tomorrow, I will file papers charging you with the murder of Shen Yuchuan. End of Scene 1. Scene 2. Same room the next morning. The lighting is normal. The same furnishings, except there's an additional chair in the center of the stage. Seated on that chair is Pei Xian Sheng. Luis Beltran is in the other chair. The stenographer is seated at the desk. Mr. Liu is standing beside Mr. Pei, or Miss Pei. Liu, Miss Pei, I brought you here today to shed light on the incident 3 nights ago that claimed the life of our illustrious Minister of Defense, Mr. Shen Yuchuan. As you undoubtedly know, public gossip has it that Mr. Shen was assassinated by Mr. Men Shujian, his rival for the presidency. It is very important for the nation to learn the truth. Last Saturday, you were working at the White Lotus Bar. Is that correct? Pei. Yes, I was a hostess there. Liu. Was Mr. Shen there that evening? Pei. Yes. Liu. What was the latest hour you saw him there? Pei. Oh, it was still early, perhaps 10:30 or 11. Liu. Take a good look at the gentleman seated beside you. Was he there that evening? Pei. Ah, yes. Beltran. That's not true. She's lying. Liu. Silence, Mr. Beltran. It's not your turn to speak. Miss Pei, are you certain that this man was there? Pei. There's no doubt about it. Westerners are always easy to identify. Besides, this man's behavior made him stand out. He drank a lot, and he made improper advances on me. Beltran, this is ridiculous. She's lying. Liu, I'm not going to warn you again, Mr. Beltran. I will have the guards punish you at the next outburst. Turning to Pei. So this man made sexual advances on you? Pei, yes. Liu, did he say anything that might relate to the murder of Mr. Shen? Pei, yes, he did. I asked him what kind of work he did, and he answered, I work for the CIA. Beltran bristles but says nothing. I didn't believe him. I thought he was just trying to impress me. But when he saw my indifference, he went one step further. He said, I'm here to assassinate someone. Again, I didn't believe him, but I played along. I asked, who's the victim? Without hesitation, he replied, that man over there. He pointed to Mr. Shen. Naturally, I didn't believe that either. When Mr. Beltran disappeared about 11, I assumed that he had gone to his hotel to sleep off the alcohol. Liu: Tell me, Miss Pei, did this gentleman indicate that he had a weapon? Pei: Better than that. He showed me a gun. For a moment I got scared. Then I thought it was part of his attempt to impress me. I didn't take his threat seriously. Liu: Is this the weapon he showed you? Liu removes it from a pocket and shows it to Pei. Pei, scarcely looking at the weapon: Why, yes, that's the very one. Liu: Thank you, Miss Pei. I believe that's all we need. Beltran raises a hand. Do you wish to say something, Mr. Beltran? Beltran: Yes, aren't you going to ask her any other questions? For instance, what was I wearing that evening? I had a very distinctive shirt. Liu: That won't be necessary. You may leave, Miss Pei. As Pei reaches the door: By the way, Mr. Meng asked me to express his gratitude to you for your contribution to our system of justice. He said that you will be suitably rewarded. Pei exits with a smile. Beltran: Suitably rewarded? What kind of justice is this? You don't really want the truth. Maybe it doesn't matter. You should release me at once. Despite her lies, I did absolutely nothing wrong. I just found a gun in an alleyway and took it to the police as any good citizen should. Liu: You don't really believe we'd let you go. Ballistics tests confirmed that the gun you brought to us was the weapon that killed Mr. Shen. You admit having the gun in the alleyway where the body was found, and your fingerprints were found on the gun. Beltran: Of course my fingerprints were on the gun. I told you I picked it up in the alleyway. How else could I get it to the police? As for the murder, I had no idea that the gun had been used to kill someone. It was dark in that alleyway. I didn't even see the body. This is all circumstantial evidence. What are you charging me with anyway? Liu: Why, the murder of Mr. Shen, of course. Beltran: And my motive? Liu: You were sent by the CIA, which has its motives. You admit to having been in Washington, D.C. Beltran: But not every visitor to Washington is a murderous agent of the CIA. This is preposterous. In my trial, my lawyer will not let you get away with such outrageous conduct. Liu: Trial? But this is the trial. It began this morning with the testimony of Miss Pei. Beltran, stupefied: What? Well, where is my defense counsel? Liu laughs. Our system of justice is much more advanced than the Western system. We've simplified everything. There are no judges, juries, or attorneys to complicate matters. One person, me, serves as judge, prosecutor, and defense counsel all in one. That way justice is dispensed rapidly and efficiently. To demonstrate that I am looking out for your interests in this proceeding, note that I have improved the lighting in this room. I wanted to be sure that Miss Pei would not misidentify you. At this moment, I sense in you a little confusion and unrest. For your comfort, I shall adjourn the case until tomorrow morning. You will have an opportunity to defend yourself at that time. End of scene 2. Scene 3. Same setting and characters as in scene 1. Beltran is seated in the chair. Liu: Okay, Mr. Beltran. Since you've already told me how you discovered the gun by chance in the alleyway near the White Lotus Bar, and how you carried it to the nearest police station, it won't be necessary for you to repeat that testimony. Later, I shall enter into the record the parts of your testimony that I deem appropriate. Let us focus today on the elements of the case that we have neglected until now. To begin, please tell me why the CIA wished to eliminate Mr. Shen. Beltran: I know nothing about that. I am neither a member nor a hired agent of the CIA. Before coming here, I'd never heard of Mr. Shen. All I know about his murder is what you've told me. Liu: You admit being in Washington, D.C.? Beltran: Yes, but that was years ago. Liu: Did you visit CIA headquarters? Beltran: Frankly, I scarcely remember what I saw there. I was a child. My parents took me there on a family vacation. I know we went to several large government buildings, but I doubt that one of them was CIA headquarters. It's unlikely the general public has access to places like that. Liu: How long were you in America? Beltran: A few weeks, I think. Liu: Long enough to receive CIA training. Beltran: I was a child. I had nothing to do with the CIA. Liu: Do you like photography, Mr. Beltran? Beltran, surprised by the question: Why, yes. A cleaning woman enters the room. At Liu's hand signal, she begins to sweep. Liu: And did you bring a camera with you on this trip? Beltran: Yes, a Nikon camera. Liu: What did you photograph in this country? Beltran: Just the sort of things tourists like to see. Liu: Describe them. Beltran: Temples, palaces, government buildings, people. Liu: Government buildings, like the Ministry of Defense, for example. Beltran: Perhaps. Liu: Isn't it possible that you were looking for advantageous opportunities to shoot Mr. Shen as he entered or left that building? Beltran: That's absurd. I was just taking photos of interesting sights. Liu: So you're an opportunist. Beltran: Well, yes, with regard to photography. I shoot whatever is around. Liu: Including the right human? Wasn't last Saturday night a favorable moment when Mr. Shen passed into the darkness of the alleyway outside the White Lotus bar? Beltran, angry, and then he pauses to calm down. No, I could never kill a human being. Liu: Couldn't you? Let's see about that. Liu removes a gun from his pocket and appears to load it. Holding the weapon in his hand, he speaks to Beltran. Do you see the cleaning woman? Beltran: Yes. Liu: She looks very ordinary, does she not? A sweet, grandmotherly type? Beltran: I suppose so. Liu: If you say that, you are a poor judge of character. But who am I to criticize? I too was fooled. I hired this woman thinking that she was fully trustworthy. Recently, I discovered that she has been stealing petty amounts of cash from my office. So she must pay for her crime. Beltran: You aren't going to send that old woman to jail, are you? Liu: I explained that our system of justice differs from yours. It would not do for people to know that someone has taken advantage of me. She must die for her theft, and you must be her executioner. Liu extends the gun toward Beltran. Beltran: What? There's no way I could do that. Liu: What if the choice is her life or yours? Liu signals for the woman to approach. She puts the broom against a wall and walks over to him. Liu hands the gun to Beltran. The latter starts to point the gun at the woman, but then he quickly lets his arm hang limply at his side. Beltran, I couldn't kill her. Even if I did, you'd simply charge me with her murder. I'd lose either way. He hands the gun back to Liu. Liu, you've been trained very well. The gun wasn't loaded anyway. Liu now loads the gun, and he calmly shoots the woman. As Beltran looks on in horror, Liu instructs the guards to carry away the body. They comply at once. Life is not worth much, and few lives really matter. But enough of this. Your trial is concluded. It is time for a verdict. I find that you are guilty of the murder of Shen Yu Chuan. Tomorrow morning at sunrise, you will face a firing squad. There is no appeal. However, as proof that I'm looking out for your interests, I have a special surprise for you. Rarely does a dead man get the opportunity to hear his own obituary. I have already written the article that will appear in tomorrow's newspapers. Here is what it says. Luis Beltran, Paraguayan national, was executed this morning for the heinous killing of our beloved Minister of Defense, Shen Yu Chuan. Beltran committed the assassination in an alleyway near the White Lotus Bar in the capital. This setting was arranged by the CIA to cast our heroic leader in a bad light. Beltran's trial focused on his role as a lackey of the imperialist American government. Vice President Meng Shujian expresses his condolences to the family of the victim and assures the nation that he will carry on our great traditions when he assumes the presidency. End of play. Regrettably, in the real world, there are innocent victims like Beltran, who, by virtue of circumstances, become pawns of evil people. Compare the situation of Beltran with that of Quigley, the main character of the second play, and a person who nearly becomes another innocent victim. Here now is the Fossils Club, the living room of Valerie Peterson's home. 7 chairs arranged in a semicircle face the front of the stage. Eric, an insurance agent, occupies the middle chair. Seated immediately to his left are VJ, a retired dentist, and Angelo, a retired plumber. Seated immediately to his right are Eloise, a retired teacher, and Aaron, a businessman. A table to the right of the chairs holds coffee and cookies. Valerie, a retired secretary, is placing napkins on the table. Angelo and VJ are talking in whispers. Eloise is knitting. Aaron is reading a magazine. Beside the vacant chair at the left of the stage is a door. A clock on the rear wall of the room reads 10 minutes past 7. Eric, let's get started. At 10 minutes past the hour, it's doubtful anyone else is going to come. Valerie sits down in the empty chair nearest to where she stands. All the others give attention to Eric. No use calling the meeting to order. We're short of a quorum. With tomorrow being the 4th of July, I knew there would be absentees, but I didn't expect such a low turnout. Now we can't vote on the new membership rules. We'll have to put that off for a while. If you're willing, what we can do is discuss informally the proposed trip to Hearst Castle. Besides, Valerie's already gone to the trouble of making some of her scrumptious cookies for us. We can't let her down, can we? Smiles and giggles from his listeners. Angelo, hey, where's Quigley? If he were here, we'd have a quorum. He's letting us down. but I'm not surprised. Eloise, well, I am. He always comes. VJ, is that right? I'm not sure I could even recognize the man. Aaron, yeah, he comes regularly, but he's awfully easy to miss, except when he trips over something, which is often. Angelo nods in agreement. He really is a clumsy oaf. How would you describe him, Eric? Shrugs his shoulders. Oh, I don't know. Maybe nondescript is the best word. Now, I wouldn't talk this way in front of him, but he's not here. Probably all of you would agree that Quigley is nothing. He kind of blends into the background. Tiny, skinny, shriveled up creature. More like a lizard than a human being. Wouldn't you agree, Eloise? Eloise, oh, that's not very nice to say, but I have to agree that he's not much to look at. Angelo, he's dumb too. Takes forever to answer a simple question. Valerie, I don't think he's stupid, just slow. Eloise, he's dirty and disorderly too. I wonder how often he takes a shower. VJ, why does he want to be in our club anyway? Never seems to say much. Valerie, maybe he's lonely. Is he married? Does anyone know? People glance at one another and shrug their shoulders. Angelo, he's ugly too with that scar on his cheek. Valerie, perhaps he's homeless. I hadn't thought of that before, but it would explain his appearance. Come to think of it, maybe he comes to our meetings just to eat my cookies. Eric, you know, perhaps it's just as well that we lacked a quorum tonight. Before we vote on the membership rules, maybe we should include a provision to exclude homeless people. Eloise, Quigley's not homeless. He has money. Aaron, how do you know that? Eloise, because last year he lent me $2,000 without even charging me interest. Aaron, how did that come about? Eloise, embarrassed and hesitant to reply. Well, I had some bad luck and fell behind on my rent. The landlord was going to evict me. At one of our meetings, Quigley asked me about the worried look on my face. When I explained, he instantly reached into his pocket and pulled out the $2,000. Didn't even ask for any collateral. I was astonished. When I started to thank him, he hushed me up and told me not to tell anyone what he had done. And I haven't until now. Eric, where do you suppose Quigley got all that money just to carry around in his pocket? Maybe he's a drug dealer. VJ, yeah, that would explain his shabby appearance. Drug dealers are all like that. I think we ought to drop him from the club. Aaron, no, I wouldn't want to do that. VJ, why not? We all agree the man is undesirable. Aaron, it's really none of your business, but if explaining is what it takes to save Quigley, then I guess I have to do it. Years ago, I got fired from a company where I'd worked for 38 years. The company was downsizing and decided that I was expendable. Here I'd given them 38 years of loyal service, but they stole my job and gave it to some fuzzy-cheeked young kid to whom they could pay half my salary. I was in deep trouble. At 61 years of age and with meager savings and not yet eligible for Social Security, how was I going to live? I have to tell you frankly, the thought of suicide crossed my mind. That's when Quigley came into the picture. He was the first to arrive on an evening when the meeting of the Fossils Club was in my apartment. Quigley could see I was depressed, and he asked me the reason. When I explained, he said not to worry. We arranged a time shortly thereafter when he showed me how to create a mail order business on the internet. He set it up so smoothly, I don't have to do much at all except cash the checks. So how could I kick him out of our club? Angelo, Quigley did that? How is that possible? The guy's a slow-witted idiot. Valerie, I have to confess something to all of you. We've all been putting down Quigley, me included. But the man did something wonderful for me, too. You may remember that a couple of years ago, Quigley was absent from our meetings for a couple of months. Upon returning, he explained that he had been on vacation. That was a white lie. Actually, Quigley had been in the hospital all that time, recovering from an injury. The two of us had been standing on the sidewalk in front of this house after a meeting. While saying goodbye to him, I carelessly stepped into the street without looking. Just as a car was about to strike me, Quigley pushed me out of the way and took a blow from the car that broke his shoulder. As the ambulance carried him away, he made me promise not to tell anyone what had happened. VJ, well, Quigley did nothing special for me. I still want him out of our club. Despite the good deeds you report, I suspect he's really up to no good. Eric, I wasn't going to say anything about this, but now I see that it's necessary. To VJ, you have a son named Amit. VJ, yes, but what's that got to do with Quigley? Eric, what sort of person is Amit? VJ, he's a wonderful boy. A little lazy and truant once in a while, but honest and bright. Eric, honest, wonderful? If so, that's because of Quigley. I live less than 2 blocks from you, and I know what goes on in the neighborhood. About 2 months ago, your son and some other boys were stealing from homes in the neighborhood. I saw them with my own eyes. I was about to report them to the police when Quigley appeared. He knew what was happening, but he begged me not to inform the police. Instead, he took action himself. He rounded up those boys and redirected their lives. I don't know what he said to them, but he converted thieves into baseball players. Your son does play on the Cougar team these days, doesn't he? VJ, yes, but... Angelo, hearing all these Quigley stories, I guess I have to add one myself. Shortly after I became a new member of this club, my car broke down on the day of a meeting. I looked at the membership roster to see if someone could give me a lift. Quigley lived closest to me, so I called him. When he came to pick me up, my wife and I were in a heated argument. Quigley talked to us in a very calm voice and gave us good advice. I didn't realize it for some time, but the relations between my wife and me began to improve from that very moment. In truth, Quigley may have saved our marriage. Eric, it appears that I'm the only one who has not conceded the debt to Quigley. Actually, I owe him one too. One night, after one of our meetings, he and I were the last to leave. I wasn't in a good mood because I was thinking about the nasty encounter I expected on the following day with a coworker. Quigley and I talked about the situation, and he gave me some excellent advice. It enabled me to turn what probably would have been a fight to the finish into a harmonious session that led to a major triumph for the company. Eloise, isn't it extraordinary? A few minutes ago, we were all criticizing Quigley, even thinking about booting him out of the club. Now, all of a sudden, everyone realizes the man changed our lives for the better. Why didn't we recognize his worth before? Valerie, maybe it's because of his unkempt appearance. Aaron, and he's so inconspicuous. He doesn't say much at the meetings. VJ, the more I think about it, the more I realize the man is extraordinary. He does so much, and never takes credit for anything. Angelo, why, he's really a hero. All of us should do something to reward him. Everyone began to smile and nod. Aaron, what could we do? Anyone got any ideas? People began to whisper among themselves. Suddenly the doorbell rings. Eloise, maybe that's Quigley. Everyone smiles in anticipation of greeting Quigley. Valerie opens the door and Nadia enters. Nadia, she rushes in and sits in the end chair near the door. Hi, everyone. Sorry I'm late. Had a problem with a grandchild. You know how it is. Eric, well, we're glad you're able to make it. Please don't feel bad. When that doorbell rang, we were all hoping it was Quigley, though. Nadia, Quigley? Don't you know about him? I heard about it on the radio. He was killed in a freak accident trying to help a woman rescue her cat from a tree. Too bad, of course, but not really a big loss to the world. He's always so dirty and insignificant. Tonight we're voting on membership rules. I had intended to recommend that Quigley be dropped from the club. End of play. We humans often misjudge one another, and sometimes our errors stem from insufficient knowledge of those we are judging. Members of the Fossils Club will ponder the character and circumstances of Quigley for a very long time. After two heavy plays like this, or like these, you viewers may desire something lighter. So next time, I shall present the comedy Honeymoon in Paradise. Until then, take care of yourselves.